Hiya! Today I'd like to answer your Q&A questions that you've kindly sent me in your comments and on Instagram stories. Yeah, I'd love to answer all of your questions that you've sent me, and I hope you enjoy these and find them useful. So yeah, I'll switch to the other camera and then we can chat. I just forgot, I haven't introduced myself, in case you're new here. I'm Kama, known as Weird is the Best on the internet, and I make all kinds of art, all kinds of comics and silly things and serious things. I just make, I love making, so I love sharing it too. Mostly mixed media and some digital things. So yeah, let's get into the video. I can't wait to answer your questions. See you on the other end. So the first question I got was from Melissa, and she asked, what's my favorite art medium? And that's a really tough one to answer because I always change them. At the moment, my favorite art medium are Tombow brush pens, and I am using those three. This is the 026 color 623 and 947, and I'm using these three in my limited palette sketchbook. I won't show you too much because that's coming in the sketchbook tour, but I'm just using three different colors in the sketchbook, and then I started adding plants, so technically four, but three materials. And at the moment, those are my favorites. I've been using Tombow brush pens since before I started drawing. I was using them for lettering and things like that, because they're kind of like a brush pen. Yeah. So I recently bought new colors, and I really like those more autumnal colors. And a Tombow brush pen is it's like a dual tip pen. So on one end you have a felt tip brush, nice and soft, and on the other end you have a very hard tip. I think it will work better if I show you how they work, how they're used, for those of you who haven't used those before. Let's try this one. And definitely not warmed up. But you can see what variety of lines you can achieve with this brush. They do fray quite quickly, especially if you're quite rough with them like I am, but I don't mind that. And then the other tip is just a continuous, no matter how hard I press, it's the same line. This is my current fixation, but I also love Fudenosuke, also by Tombow. They're Tombow is a Japanese brand. It's also a brush pen, but it's I call it like a fake brush because it's not really a brush. It's like a very hard felt tip. And they also kind of bend a bit and make thinner and thicker. So the idea is that they're very good for lettering, hand lettering, because you can get my hand is a bit shaky, but you get the gist. You can get a variation of line widths, which is really nice for if you're doing lettering. That's how I started with these pens, and I fell in love. They're very nice for beginner letterers because they are much harder, so it makes them easier to control. So really lovely pens. Also a pen that I'm using to draw my graphic novel. Sorry about this camera angle. Is waterproof, and it's a pigment ink, meaning that it should, in theory, be light fast, so it will should last forever. And it means that you can paint on top of it, which is why I chose this type of pen for my graphic novel, because it means I can color it in later if I want to. And also this. I kept forgetting what ink I had inside, so I have this ugly sticker on it. So at the moment I have Iroshizuku Takesumi, but I also had carbon ink in this pen, but it started clogging up and I got too scared and I took it out. So this is a fountain pen called Sailor Fude, and I love this pen. With carbon ink, it makes luscious lines, but I think this is also good. I'm just really used to those this really black ink. But again, it's got a bent nib, and I already reviewed this pen when I got it first. It's a Japanese pen again, it's Sailor Fude. And the ink it came with, the ink cartridges that it came with were really, really nice. Yeah, Sailor is overall one of my favorite brands when it comes to ink and pens and things like that. Really lovely. And then something that I was fixated on recently was graphite. Just graphite, pure old, you know, your good old graphite. At the moment, I don't use it much because I don't like the smudging over to the next page, although you can add a piece of paper in between your pages. But what I really liked doing was if I drew something, say, I don't know, I drew a cat. Not my best, but hey. And then I'd grab a highlighter pen, just for fun, just to enjoy like the colorfulness. I really like the combination of neon colors and just your regular old, you know, graphite. And I use it in various forms, so I use as soft lead as I can in my mechanical pencils. Draw like this, and I also love this mono again. I'm not sponsored by Tombow, although I wouldn't mind being sponsored by Tombow. Hello. I just grabbed a few, and it happened to be also by Tombow, but I use all kinds of graphite, like Derwent. I can't remember brands now, but yeah, this one's Blackwing. This is really nice because it's just graphite, and you can get many different types of pen like this. This one's water soluble as well, so if you add water to it, but it's really nice and soft. If you add water to it, it will get activated just like paint, and you can paint with it basically. It gives you such dark lines. So this one's Graphitone, very dark wash in 8B. I really love this pen. It's a bit trickier to use because you have to sharpen it or you have to rotate it in a certain way to keep getting like a really nice thick line. But it's a really, really nice material. And my hopefully future fixation, something that I really want to get into, and I keep putting it off because I think anything that involves a bit of prep or cleanup puts me off very easily. I would love to get into watercolor, and I have a few different palettes, urban sketching ones. So yeah, I hope to take them out a bit more. The weather is turning a bit, but I really want to use them more. I just collect paints. It took me quite a long time to get this many. You can start, this is from my original set I got from like a local art shop. Not the best, they were recommended, but I think they're more student grade. I've just moved everything here. Okay, I was talking about the paints and I was getting rambly and my phone ran out of space, but basically I was just rambling about my paints. Let's move on. I also didn't talk yet about what I draw in, and so I'll show you a few sketchbooks that I'm using. So Emossery is a really cool brand based in, I think, Singapore, and it's a bit pricey to get them because you have to pay a lot for postage. It's definitely worth it, but yeah, that's why I don't really get them that often. And you can choose your own text on the cover usually. And this cover is by Archu, my online friend, and I'm her Patreon. And she made this beautiful collaboration with them. There are 4 sketchbooks by her, if they're still in stock. And I really hope to get all the covers. I have a couple. But anyway, this one's a watercolor one. And I was kind of precious about it, and then I decided not to be precious and just draw and swatch and experiment, because I will never get comfortable with expensive paper, watercolor paper, unless I actually mess in it, you know. Just do, like, I actually use this in one of my comics, and this is my character design for a graphic novel, some illustrations for it, and swatching and paintings, and you know, and this one I painted on YouTube, so you can see that. But yeah, it's a really nice sketchbook, but quite like precious or something, I don't know. And I also have this Mosseri mixed media one, which is very similar. And I started painting my graphic novel in it, but I keep switching between sketchbooks, and there's some workshops that I attended online where we drew together the same thing. Swatching. This one I drew with with Katie Moody on her Patreon. Yeah, so it's a bit cheaper because it's mixed media paper, but still quite pricey. But you can see how, like, you can use a variety of things in it. I'm getting rambly again. Let's move on to my go-to when I want a nice sketchbook, because this one's handmade by a small business in the UK. And it's by Odd Orange Stationery, and it's run by Morgan Grice, and she's amazing. She's a really nice person to chat to. She does bi-monthly workshops or like drawing sessions, one of which is free and the other is like 3 or 4 quid. It's very inexpensive and it's very fun. It always brings up my mood whenever those sessions happen. And the sketchbooks are really nice, and they're almost like lay flat, maybe not perfectly, but this one's like a more affordable version, where the binding isn't as nice as her usual, so it's not as perfect, but I didn't mind that. And I might have gotten this as a second, like it was imperfect or something. But yeah, really nice stock, and I love drawing in them. But it feels a bit precious because they are quite pricey. Whenever I go back to them, these sketchbooks, I absolutely love them. And this one's a bit more... This is like the special edition where she did the... I forgot the word for this. And I messed up the first page, and then I was like, doesn't really matter, or, you know, I'll just stick things on it. And I drew this Patreon reward in it, and I really enjoyed it. There's a video of me drawing this, like a speed paint of this artwork on YouTube. And yeah, I just really like various mediums in it. And I used to think that graphite was a bit of a waste in such a nice sketchbook, but actually it's worth using because, I don't know, it adds something. And yeah, here's another example of like using really bright colors with graphite. I really like this page. I was getting comfortable with graphite and things. Some acrylic paints, yeah. So that's the Odd Orange. I should probably speed up because we'll be here all day. That's only the first question. And also the trusty old Art Creation by Royal Talents sketchbooks. They come in various shapes and sizes. This is my go-to, but I quite like this size. It's kind of like an unusual size. Not too big, but big enough to like fill up like a nice page. And I should mention that I recently got this unbranded ink. I believe it's Chinese calligraphy and drawing ink. That's all I could get from painting and calligraphy ink. That's all I could get from Google Translate. This is like the address of the company. I think this, yeah, somewhere here it says where it is. And it doesn't have a brand on it. But it's super, super nice and dark. It's quite shiny though, but I don't mind that. And I just really like drawing in it. And last but not least is the Onion Skin Journal. And the sticker is from Choosing Keeping, the stationery store in London. And it's the crinkliest, lashiest. Can you hear this? It's so nice. I've literally just turned these into a sticker sheet. Ta-da! I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making the sticker sheets for the first time. And yeah, there's just, I don't know, there's something about this paper and the fact that you can see through. It's just really playful and fun. And I found out about the sketchbook from Sophie McPike, who uses them as well. But yeah, I do really enjoy using this sketchbook. Okay, let's go to the next question. That was only question number 1. What is my favorite subject or thing to draw or paint? And that's a tough one because I love going between different things and coming back to the same things. At the moment, I think I really like drawing cats, as you can probably tell by my washi tape. I love drawing mushrooms, especially because it's like autumn now. I love drawing people, so very recently I filled up a few sketchbooks just with people, basically drawing from observation, like drawing at airports, drawing parks, skeletons and things. Yeah, so I like drawing power lines and things like that. But yeah, I like drawing anything. When I'm out of ideas, I draw a cat. I think that's my go-to. And if not, I'll draw some mushrooms or flowers and things like that. You can sort of see. This is my uninspired day. This is from I drew it after a night out where it was the first time I played Pong, I think, beer pong. And yeah, I just really like drawing cats and people, and yeah, I'm repeating myself. I don't do these kinds of videos often, so bear with me while I'm getting used to like not talking about sketchbook or something that's in front of me. It's a bit harder, to be honest. I do have a kind of a script today, even, which I don't normally do. And I'm rambling again. So what's next? The next question I have is, do I prefer a sketchbook or canvas or loose paper? Maybe you can tell. But I definitely prefer sketchbooks. I have a whole like bookshelf full of sketchbooks, like filled and empty. I love sketchbooks. Sometimes I draw on loose paper, but I much prefer a sketchbook. Much prefer. I've never drawn or painted on canvas yet. I do have like a one canvas board, tiny one. Maybe one day I will brave it. That was quite easy to answer. I think sketchbooks are just less pressure because it doesn't need to finish like it doesn't need to feel like it needs to be framed kind of thing, if that makes sense. Because if you have lots of loose pieces of paper, they kind of get lost. And you end up with lots of pieces everywhere. I think that's just my preference. And the next question is, what is my favorite color? And that changes as well. So it used to be neon pink and like this neon yellow for quite a long time. But for a while now, I really love this. I don't know what it's called, like heather pink. Let me just check, because I did write it down in my sketchbook. This one's called Purple Sage. So that sort of color, and I really love it. And I have sketchbooks in this color, exactly the same shade. And I think I have a paint, and if I don't, I definitely will be getting some, because I don't know, there's something about this color that really draws me. And I do like those like earthy colors recently. A bit of blue, some greens, and like browns, which is something that I never really liked in the past. So yeah, that's interesting. And I love black, like the darkest black that I can get. I quite like that, and I like the graphite color, but definitely, oh yeah, and I always forget what the name is. It's not exactly this color, but it's like, it's this specific green color, lint green, I think, and I really enjoy. Definitely Purple Sage, top number one. And that's rare for me to be able to say with confidence, to pick one. And the next question I have is, do I collect anything? Do you mean apart from art supplies and Tombow brush pens and sketchbooks? I think I do. Although it's not like any specific like collection. I do love getting prints from various artists, and from time to time I go through all my like prints in the drawer and I try and frame as much as I can. I also love collecting art supplies, like I mentioned, and this is more like just to be able to try everything possible. I don't know, I just like that. I do love buying stickers, and they usually end up on sketchbook covers and on pages and things like that. But I often, like, I used to have way too many stickers, and then at some point a couple months ago I was really running low and I couldn't find stickers that I wanted anymore, so I started buying them again. So now I have a massive supply of stickers. Absolutely love stickers. I make my own as well. I literally have been restocking my shop for stickers and printing some Patreon rewards. So these are for September. If you're in there before end of September, you can get these, the snail and the cat sticker. And I can't think of any other collections specifically that I might have. I'm definitely not like clothes kind of person where I would like get lots of different clothes, or I only have like a couple plushies. Like for me that's enough. Books and comics and small press zines and graphic novels. Like that's just like a single category. Books might be less so because I don't really have that much time for reading, especially when I'm working part-time and drawing basically part-time too. I usually put on an audiobook, so I don't really collect books per se. But I love a graphic novel, and I have quite a few. And I like small press comics, which means, or small press zines, which means that someone independently prints their own like batch of zines and comics and sells them by themselves. So they're like very indie kind of things, and I love exploring different artists. A great way to kind of not spend a fortune and discover new things. Yeah, I think that will cover all of it. Oh, favorite comfort movie? That is a really good question. Thank you, Melissa. I do have one. I have a couple. I think I have a couple. I'm trying to think if there are more than two. I think let's stick to two. My number one ever film is The Martian, and both the book, the audiobook, and the film. And I did try the extended edition film, but they didn't really add that much, and I was like, it was a bit pointless. But I do love The Martian, and I watch it at least once a year. I just really love the combination of like the visuals, the story, the actors. Even though I was never like a massive fan of Matt Damon, I love him in that film. Like, oh, fell for him there. Like the character, the humor in it, the color grading, the soundtrack is beautiful. Like the whole combination of things. I could watch this film any day. Absolutely love it. I think I love anything sci-fi, but especially a hot scientist kind of film. Yeah, just love that film. If you haven't seen it, like go and watch it, and at least you'll know whether you like it or not. And my second one, and it's also based on it's not based on a book, it's based on a short story from the Stories of My Life and Others. Oh, I've completely forgotten the title. It's by Ted Chiang. Is it Ted Chiang? I just checked. It's called Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. Yes, I remembered correctly. And it's a really tiny story. But the film is called Arrival. And I absolutely love the whole story. The soundtrack is beautiful. And I remember raging when the soundtrack didn't win awards because it wasn't original. Like one of the songs wasn't original or something. But I really, really like the vibe. Again, cool scientists in it, like nerdy people. And the linguist, I think maybe that's what kind of got me more towards... Like, I always loved languages, like, since I came to the UK, maybe. Because, like, as a kid, I tried to learn Japanese, and I didn't really do that well, and I hated languages at school, really. But I love languages, it turns out. Once I learned English a bit, I realized that, like, German that I always struggled with wasn't that hard anymore, because once you learn one foreign language, you kind of, because you now have two languages that are different from each other, have different rules and grammar, you can kind of grasp other languages a bit easier. And I love learning Japanese and stuff. But anyway, so the film is about linguistics and like alien linguistics, basically, how to communicate with an alien race. And apparently, for a lot of linguists, so I heard that in the Linguenthusiasm episode, it's a podcast about linguistics, and they mentioned that the film touches on the subject that a lot of linguists really love, which is that language isn't linear. And the film kind of touches on that. I don't want to tell you spoilers, but if you want to geek out on it, read up about it. It's really, really cool. Like, if you're into that, I guess. It's nerdy, but cool. I love that kind of side of the story. And yeah, it's about aliens and sci-fi, and the music and the visuals are fantastic. And it's kind of mind-bending. It's a bit sad, but also kind of in a positive way, kind of thing. So yeah, I recommend that film too. It's definitely my comfort movie as well. What's something people would be surprised to know about me? Oh, I wasn't prepared for this one. So let's move on and I'll come back to it while my brain thinks about it in the background. What's your karaoke song of choice? And that's a brilliant question for a day after I've been to a karaoke, where I've only been to karaoke parties three times in my life now. It's funny that it comes up when I do this video on the day after. So my song of choice, if I could choose a Polish song, I would choose like the OG of Polish hip-hop, basically, Jestem Bogiem. But it's not the easiest song to sing, especially at karaoke when no one else knows the lyrics. So I didn't even look for it, but I found that I could have picked it yesterday. My song of choice at karaoke would be Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. I just love like going crazy on it, and I love the slow and fast pace of the song. I love the lyrics, and yeah, definitely a good one. By the way, if you have a great answer to any of these questions, like, let me know what the question is, just because it's kind of easier for everyone to understand, and let me know the answer if you want to share anything when you hear any of these questions. So what am I looking forward to? That's a massive question, I think, because there's quite a lot of things I'm looking forward to at the moment. And I kind of treat these things as, you know, like, so I don't know if it would come as a surprise or not, but I've been struggling with like anxiety and depression for quite a while. And whenever I have like a really bad day, I try and think about what I'm looking forward to, because there's so many things that I haven't done yet that I really want to do. And so in the near future, I'm looking forward to going to Poland. So I'll go to not far from Wrocław, which is like the really nice city with a lot of nightlife. But I'm going to stay over with my cousin and her partner. And because they will be working, I will find some nice local place to draw. And then at the weekend, I'm seeing my best friend. And I don't know, I'm probably going into way too much detail. And I'm having a class reunion from my sixth form, and it will be really fun to see everyone, because I haven't seen those people in, I'm not going to say how many years, because it's scary how many years. And it should be really fun. I can't wait to see my family, and hopefully, I was just thinking whether we could do karaoke in Wrocław, but I'll have to see what my cousins want to do, and see my gran, and yeah, it will be really fun. I'm also looking forward to the Winchester Comics Fair, which is coming very short, like a week after I'm back, or the week I'm back from Poland. And that should be really fun. I really love that event, and I have a table there. But I'm looking forward to seeing my like comics friends, because at every event you kind of start making comics friends, and every time you go you meet more and more people. And yeah, it's just a really nice small event. It's quite independent, I think, still. only been going for 3 years now. I highly recommend, if you're near Winchester, to pop in and yeah, check it out. I would be going whether I had the table there or not. And I'm also looking forward to Thought Bubble, which is a Comic-Con, 2-day Comic-Con in Harrogate. The festival, so they do Thought Bubble Festival and Thought Bubble Comic-Con. And the festival is like, I think, about a week, but I never am able, because it's so far from where I am. It's like 4-hour drive, 5-hour drive. I never go way before, I just go for the event, for the Comic-Con. It's full of independent makers, really big names, anything in between. The atmosphere is super cool. I really love that they have like quiet room for people who want to just escape for a bit. So like if you're overstimulated by all the noise and comics and like, yeah, because it's massive and it's very noisy, you can like escape for a bit. If you ask for help, everyone there, like, they're volunteers and they will help you out, no problem. Everyone's super friendly, and I'm really, really lucky and happy that I will have a table there as well for the second time. This will be my third Thought Bubble. Will come back every year if I can, for as long as I can. And my sister-in-law will be there as well with me, which is really lovely. She will take us there, and yeah, we'll have a night out, just us two, have some quality time together, but then also enjoy the comics and meeting new people. So it should be really, really fun. And I'm also looking to a massive one, which is I'm sorry, I am planning to go to Japan. I've been wanting to go since I was a teenager, and I never thought it was like feasible, or, you know, it was quite, it's always been, you know, an expensive trip to plan and quite scary. And I might be going with my friend Haru, but she only gets 2 holidays a year. So I think we might cancel this plan because it's getting really expensive, and I might just go by myself. We'll see. But it should be really fun. Either way, I'm going next year. So that's it for today. That was about half of the questions that you've sent me, and I just realized the video was getting so long that I had to chop it in half. So the next half I'll post in the next week. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up, all the usual good stuff, like and subscribe. You can also hit the bell button, that really helps my channel, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this, and maybe if you have any follow-up questions, or if you would like to answer any of my questions like yourself, then also drop anything fun in the comments. And I hope you had fun. You can find me on the internets as Weird is the Best everywhere. You can pop into my Etsy shop if you're interested in any of the stickers and like stuff that I do. And I'm also on Patreon, where I share a monthly sticker and print and some tutorials and things like that. And I think that's it. I don't like selling my stuff. Not a salesperson, but you've got to say it. I think that was everything for now. And until next week, have a lovely time artsing. Bye!